Hello and welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast, where myself, Micheál, Deasy and Declan Rix are looking ahead to a competitive weekend's racing, including some group action for juveniles from Newbury with the Mill Reef and some open handicaps as well, including the Ayr Gold Cup. We've got the Ayr Silver Cup on the card, and the Bronze Cup takes place on the day we're recording this, but we have had a few clues about the draw, so we'll be getting stuck into where you might want to be drawn. But first up, how are we, gang? All good?
All good, Tom. All good, yeah. Looking forward to another weekend of it. The Ayr Gold Cup is definitely one of the highlights of the flat season for me. A nice 25-runner handicap, nice, easy to solve one.
Yeah, and do you know, it's interesting that the Irish has sent over another likely horse in the form of Buffer Zone. Last year, Son of Rest, dead heated when going off at the top of the market. I don't know about you, Rixie, but I always quite like to get stuck into something at a price, but that's just how I tend to approach it. But I can see why the favourite is in the position he's in.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. Kind of the first thing you try and do. Kind of, I think most races try and get the favourite beaten, and hopefully we can make a case for taking on the Irish favourite in this year's renewal.
All right, come on then. Kick us. I mean, I know who you fancy, and it's very dangerous that in this massive field. I agree with you, but kick us off.
Well, yeah. Look, I just kind of using common sense in some ways. I was just kind of saying to some of the lads. Over the last 4 or 5 seasons, English sprinters, handicap sprinters, when they've come to Ireland, they've dominated the handicap scene. And now we've got an Irish handicapper coming to England, or Scotland, should I say? I apologise. That's Brexit for you.
Great Britain.
Great Britain, that is the correct term, yes. So now you've got an Irish horse coming to Great Britain and is heading the market for one of their big handicaps. In some ways, that kind of doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, historically, for all that, the Gerlines horse is coming here in good form, and it was a good winner at the Curragh the last day. But I'm happy to take him on, not just on that kind of that approach that I just mentioned, but also on form. I don't think that form entitles him to be that short in the betting. So I think if he was to be that short in the betting, I kind of matched up his sectionals with Fairyland, who ran on the same card that day, the Curragh Irish Champions weekend, and Fairyland was quite a bit quicker home from three out than he was. So whether or not he can win it off such a high weight remains to be seen. So I'm happy to take him on, Tom.
Absolutely killing me every time you mention Fairyland. I believe I didn't. Anyway, that's fine. You can't keep backing them, can you? But
Can't.
Yeah. No, let's not mention Fairyland again, because I followed her off a bit of a cliff, but there you go. Dees, give us some prices then. Rixie's talked about this, where Buffer Zone is in the market. Just first couple in the betting, what's it looking like?
Yeah, Buffer Zone is at the top of the market at 7.2. Then you have Gulliver at 8.4. Summer Hand is 10.0. Arecibo is 13.5, Major Jumbo 17.0, Intisab is 18.0, Gunmetal is 20.0, and big prices in the rest of them.
Good to hear. The good thing is 18.0. We'll come to that. Dees, who do you fancy?
Jesus, this is a tough one now. Like I said to you last night in the WhatsApp, I've just narrowed down to about 14 horses. But I settled on Hey Jonesy. I think Wallace here, the kind of the group horse, the handicap kind of thing. He was keeping much better company than this last year. He's been handicapping this year. I think it's interesting that they've kind of he ran 4 times at the start of the season, and they've freshened him up now. They've given him a break, and they have a visor on him for the first time. So I think it's the first time he's ever worn headgear. He's out of stall 8 as well, which has been a lucky start for whatever reason. I think three of the last 6 winners have come out of that stall. So I think that he's a big price. He's 28.0, I think. So sorry, he's 21.0. I think at that kind of price, he's well worth a place bet and a small win bet.
He's very much on my short list. Hey Jonesy, the first time visor. Just to second that, he wasn't beaten too far in the Wokingham of £3 higher. And I think back to a strongly run 6 could really suit in that visor for the first time for a yard that I've got a good record in it. But the main reason he was on the short list, and I don't know what you think about this, Rixie, is that I'm looking to play that sort of middle to far side. The 5 furlong handicap, which is the only evidence that we have currently, because we're doing this before the Bronze Cups run on the Friday. I think it was Stall 8 that took that on the Thursday, but it sort of developed that way. That's probably where the pace was. But as far as pace goes, I've got most of it towards that side, 2, 3, 8, 10, 14, 20, 24, as I look at it at the moment. But I can see it developing that way. So that's how I was looking to play it. So stalls-wise, I'm happy with where Hey Jonesy is. And also with where Intisab is, Rixie. Over to you.
Yeah, look, I think Intisab is probably the fancy for me in this race. He's a horse who's been rated a lot higher in the past, but he's still in good form, and he's still a horse that's performing in and around his mark at the moment. He had another good run the last day at Doncaster, where the kind of the sedate kind of early fractions probably wouldn't play to his strengths. He's probably a better horse coming off a stronger tempo these days. But kind of the key, I think, for him really is the jockey booking. Young Angus Villiers is riding him, a man who sounds like he was born in South Africa to Scottish parents, and has come all the way to Great Britain and is going to maybe win the Ayr Gold Cup. So he's really come to prominence over the last kind of 5 or 6 weeks. He's a good young rider. He's claiming a valuable £7. He's riding for David O'Mara, who historically does very well in these kind of races. So yeah, look, I just think kind of he's come down the ratings. He's performing in and around his mark, and it was the jockey booking that really kind of was the key for me. Look, normally you want to be looking away from kind of 8-year-olds in these races. You want to be looking at these young progressive horses coming through, but he's a horse who's been rated much higher in the past. He's been to Ayr 3 times, I think, and he's won here twice. So that could be another positive as well. So yeah, look, I just thought at the prices he was one of the more interesting ones. But for all that, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a very good race again and finished 3rd or 4th, just kind of being undone by the more progressive types. But at the prices with the jockey booking, he was the one for me.
Is there a draw in your mind that, were he drawn up against the Standside rail, for example, would that be a negative? Or is it just the profile of the horse you like, not necessarily wherever he was drawn, you were going to side with?
No, I don't think so. I think in these, because when you're operating over sprint distances, 5 and 6 furlongs, you really do need everything to drop right. I did go through the pace, kind of looking at. I thought there was a good spread of pace across the track. To be honest, I thought middle to maybe low was going to be ideal in terms of getting a good lead and getting cover in that. But then at the same time, Buffer Zone and Major Jumbo, they are both drawn high and they like to go forward. So there was a good spread around the track. I just thought maybe being in the middle was ideal. Like, you always just like to kind of race with the peloton in these races. So yeah, look, I think in these races, the draw and pace it up is crucial. So yeah, I wouldn't be siding with the horse kind of pre-race if we don't know the draw, but the draw as it looks sets up pretty well for him.
Yeah, it can change. I remember a few years ago, Graham Lee, I think, made all on his own up the Standside rail in the, I think it was it might have been in the 5 furlong race earlier on in the week. And then all of a sudden, you wanted to be hard up against that Standside rail. Roger Charlton won the Ayr Silver Cup. James Doyle rode the winner up that rail, and that's how it developed. But I think, from the evidence we have doing this at the moment, I agree with the majority of the hard pace looked middle to far, but a bit of form coming into it could change things after we're doing this. But I'm happy to be sort of those lower numbers in and around the 10 mark. I think might be where you want to be. So I absolutely second what you said. Intisab, who's my bet in the race. I backed him in the Woking and he ran a good enough race. But the jockey booking is absolutely huge for me, as is the Ayr record, and just coming off a strong pace with where he's drawn, I think should be ideal. And then you look at the price, and it's 21.0 Deasy, I thought was fair enough. So I'm going to go with Intisab as well. It's that dangerous we've agreed on something in such a big field. Maybe it's a good thing.
Maybe.
But you're judge to me, so there you go.
What we should probably mention, kind of, we're recording this on Friday morning, and we obviously had racing yesterday. Yes, it looked the ground is going to be drying up there the whole time. So maybe what we seen yesterday on Thursday is not going to be what we see tomorrow on Saturday. So that's just worth bearing in mind. And the other thing I'd noticed in this, there was quite a few horses in here having first-time headgear. Hey Jonesy is one. Gunmetal is another. There's 2 or 3 more, and those kind of those little changes and aids put on by trainers can just make the difference. I did mention Gunmetal there. I'd also put him up if I can have 2 in the race at a big price. Maybe Deasy can give us a price on him. David Barron's a trainer who does really well in these kind of races. Oisin Murphy, champion jockey elected, has been booked to ride, and he was another horse who ran very well in the Wokingham when he was probably just on the wrong side of the track. So at the prices, those are the 2 that I would be looking at. And Gunmetal, just with the first time headgear, I thought he was interesting.
Just to come in on that, Gunmetal for David Barron, who had a first up 2-year-old winner at Redcar a couple of days ago, and he was not having a good time of it before that, but it's good to see him get a winner on the board again. I think he said after the race that he was thinking about retiring going into that because it wasn't going his way, but that was good to see. So the horses, it might just be experiencing a bit of a turnaround in form. What price Dees for Gunmetal?
20.0. There's 3 nice big price ones there now for the people this weekend.
Get the TriCast up. There you go. Simple as that. Right, well, we got... if you don't want to add anything else to that, DC, give us the prices for the Mill Reef, if you can, which is the 255 at Newbury that feature race for the juveniles, and a decent enough looking race on the face of it. It's pretty tight at the top, isn't it, betting wise?
Yeah, this is a cracking race. I really enjoyed going through this yesterday. So at the top of the market, you have Pierre Lepin is 3.8, Mystery Power is 4.2. Then you have Malatru is 7.0, Impressor is 7.8, Shaden is 8.4, Royal Commando is 10.0, Mr. Kiki is 13.0, and then Firepower is the outsider at 25.0.
Do you have dual citizenship with the French? Because you're a natural.
Yeah, we Cork is very close to France. We're as far south as you can go, and if you stand at Mizen Head, which is the most southerly part of Ireland, on a clear day, you can see the north coast of France. So.
Pierre Lapin, who's well named, is a son of Beatrix Potter and is, of course, the French for Peter Rabbit. So I quite like that bit of naming. We were discussing these, so you put up on the group last night. You quite positive about the horse, but just asking why we haven't seen him for 120 days. I don't know the answer to that, whether or not he had a setback, but I suppose that could be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, I think he was one of the up near the top of the market for the Coventry Stakes after his debut. I'm willing to take a chance to go against him. I was looking through, like, he's only had 1 race, so it's fairly easy to go through his form. Out of all the horses, he beat the top rated one is now 84. So it wasn't like, I mean, he beat them well, but I don't think he beat much that day. I think that he's well worth taking on in this, considering he hasn't run in so long. This is only a second race. He could be a bit green. I know he has big entries for the rest of the autumn. So maybe this is just a pipe opener. This is a very good race. There's a lot of good horses in here, and the one I eventually ended up on was Shaden. I thought that she's the only filly in the race. She has some decent form behind her. I think that she won over course and distance on good to soft, but she beat a few good horses in it there that day. She beat Misty Grace, she beat Repartee, and she beat Lord of the Lodge, which they all ran fairly well in the gym crack after. She had her last race was a third to Boomer at Goodwood. Boomer went on to run an absolute cracker at Doncaster last week. The horse that came fourth behind her, that finished behind her at Goodwood, Stylistic, came second at Doncaster last week. So I think her form is fairly good. She's fairly rock solid. She's a bigger price I thought she'd be. She's 8.4. I think she's well worth a bet in this, getting weight as well. She has the fillies allowance, so I think that she's a good bet at 8.4.
Yeah, and she was a good one winning over course and distance.
Yeah.
Back in July, as you say, and that form's taken a boost as well. It actually ties in with that gym crack form and a horse I'm going to talk about. But Rixie, over to you first of all. Who do you fancy?
I hate doing it, but I hate betting horses with penalties in general. I tried to stay away from them, but I didn't think it was the best Mill Reef in the world, and Mystery Power was the horse who kind of stood out for me. He's got to give the field £3. He's got to give Deasy's horse Shade and £6, who's going to get the fillies allowance as well. So look, that's going to be tough. He's going to need to be at the top of his game to win this. But I really liked what he did in the Superlative Stakes. I thought he was good there. he looks to me like he's very straightforward, but he's idle as well. And I kind of like those horses because they save a bit for themselves. He then went to Goodwood and ran behind Pinatubo, although he didn't run behind Pinatubo in some ways because he was very disappointing. Richard Hannon, should I say, was interviewed on RTV at Sandown during the week and came out and he said he was astonished that he ran so poorly, but it turns out that he scoped bad after the race. So there's an excuse there. And he said he's also back in decent order. Look, he's got to drop down to 6 furlongs, which it's not going to be ideal. But look, I think when he won the Superlative, he showed he's got gears. And he's very straightforward. Ryan Moore's going to ride for Richard Hannon. Ryan, I think, if with the horse dropping in trip, he's going to have to jump him out and be very positive on him, similar to the ride he gave 10 Sovereigns in the July Cup this year. That's the kind of ride we're going to need to win. So look, he was the one for me. I thought it was actually funny. During Royal Ascot, one of the many sessions in Car Park 2, we bumped into someone from Hannon's. And we asked them, did they have any nice juveniles running over the weekend? And this horse ran that Haydock and won first time out. And it sounded like that they were really keen on him. So he's always been a horse who's shown up really well at home. And he went to Julie Obliged at Haydock. So yeah, look, I just thought he was the real class horse in this race. Dropping the trip and the penalty is a little bit of a concern. But I just thought he still should have been favoured over Pierre Lapin for me. So we'll see how we go.
I definitely don't think that the drop back in chip will be a problem. He showed a lot of speed at Newmarket when he won over 7 there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be concerned about that at all. And it was disappointing, but I didn't know he'd scope badly afterwards. So that explains that. Which actually, if anything, makes me more, if I'd have known that coming into studying the race, I'd have been a good deal more positive, I think. The horse I wanted to mention was Malatru. So we've given you 3 horses. So basically, it's just a personality contest, or who you think's the better judge. You just got to choose. That's it. But I think Malatru was beaten 5 lengths in the Gimcrack and beaten pretty comfortably. As the race developed, he was just short of a little bit of room. He was alongside Threat in the race. Not that he would have beaten Threat, who's come out in Frank Reformer course subsequently, but he was alongside him. Threat got a nice clear passage, and Gerald Mosse was just short of him a couple of times. He just went a little bit more up the inner. He kept on nicely up the stand-side rail. But the main point about that is there was a tailwind on the day, and you Brawl Threat came from just off them. You did want to be up there. We saw that with Lord of the Lodge and Repartee, who were up there. So it wasn't really run to suit. But the key point with him would be it was quick ground at York. That was course record day, wasn't it? That was the day that the Friday that Batash broke the track record. I don't think this horse wants very quick ground. He's quite a big son of Casamento, and I think that he won over in Italy on softer ground. Now, I don't know what the ground's going to be. It's good at the moment, and there's a pretty bright forecast. But if we're looking at times on the day and it's not lightning quick, then I'd be happy to side with him. But I'd just have a slight caveat to that being if it is very quick ground, I would be slightly less enthused. But he'd be my on top selection in the race. Has anyone got anything to add to the Mill Reef gang? Anything else you want to throw out there? Happy?
No, it's a decent little race, to be fair, isn't it? I did like Royal Commando, but I did notice he's got I think he's a horse who gets very restless in the stalls, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives him a few lengths head start here again. But look, we're dealing with juveniles who are who could progress any amount, especially with the sun on their back now as it is at the moment. So we'll see how it goes. The ground should be quick at Newbury. I don't know what part of the country you're living in. Like, I'm in London, and the weather here the last 3 or 4 days has been very well. So unless they make an absolute balls up and overwater the ground, it should be quick.
It should be. Last year it rained all day. I remember it well. It was terrible weather, but it's going to be absolutely fine there. So I'll be on ground watch for Malatru. The sort of shape of the race for me is it might not be the best Group 2 in the world for juveniles, but I thought it was quite an easy one to have an opinion about. Given the horses in the market, it's not like we're dealing with a 4 or 6 shot right at the top of the betting. So I thought it was an easy one enough to have a fair opinion about, and we put up 3 different horses each. The other one we're going to have a look at is the handicap at Newbury, which is the 330. It's the Dubai Duty Free handicap over 10 furlongs. I don't think Forrester Dean is an easy horse to take on. He's £5 well in. He's got, for me, comfortably the best form in the race, that in the form of the course and distance London Gold Cup with Hedman, who's gone on to progress up in group company. The Fox Premier form is very strong. A Goodwood, he won that comfortably. And then he won one of the most competitive 10.5 furlong handicaps at York. So he is not an easy horse to take on at all. I suppose it depends what price he is. What have you got, Deasy, with regards to Forrester Dean at the top of the betting?
Forrester Dean is a nice enough 4.0 at the moment. And you've Migration, second favourite, then 7.0. Caradoc is 8.2. Johnny Drama is 8.6. And you've Great Example, 9.4. And it's double figures the rest.
4.0?
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm not one to get stuck in at the top of the betting in these handicaps, but I think it go off short in that. That's got to be an industry. That's bigger than I thought it would be.
Me too. And I was looking at this morning because I was like, I thought he'd be too short, but I mean, he could definitely go off, 2.75 or 2.5. I mean, if the money starts coming from, you could see a gamble developing, and I'd say he probably is a good thing. I think at 4.0. Not a bad bet at that price, but I can't see it hang around for too long.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Go on, where else are you looking, or have you got anything else for the race?
I was looking at Migration again, just at the price. I think like Migration has been unlucky a few times this year, especially last time out. Like he has only one way of running. He's going to sit out the back and arrive late and try and get to the front as close to the line as possible. So I like those horses. You get a bit of excitement watching them, and hopefully he gets a free run. He was unlucky, like he was given Hyana, I think nearly a stone the last time if you took into account the Dockey's claim. The big swing in the weights done out today with horse, so I think Migration has a good enough a chance at 7.0. I think he could definitely hit the frame provided he gets a bit of luck in running, which you generally do at Newbury. I think Newbury is quite a fair track. So I think he's a good bet at 7.0.
Rixie?
Yeah, look, this was a really good race for me. A couple of competitive, very, very competitive, progressive horses come through. I thought at the price as Forrester Dean was worth taking on, to be honest. I wouldn't be as strong as you on that form at York the last day. I know he's well in, but as I said a couple of times coming on here, I keep my own ratings, and I don't think he is that well in as the market and the BHA suggest. With all due respect to Rab Halvan, he's no Frankie Dettori, so Frankie I think goes to France this Saturday, and Rab is going to ride instead. He's a very keen horse, and they need a good gallop to run at because he travels very strongly. He should get that, to be fair, because we've got Victory Command, Johnny Drama, and Oasis Prince in here who like to go forward. So look, I don't know. The one for me I thought was Caradoc. I thought ran a massive race at York the last day. I just loved the way he travelled and how he hit the line. He just looked like a horse in rude health. Ed Walker's got his team in fine fettle at the moment. So yeah, at the prices he'd do for me. But look, Gibbs Hill, I think I'd give a positive mention to him. I think dropping in class and dropping in trip is gonna suit that horse. I liked Migration as well the last day. He ran very well, but it looks like he saves his best form for Sandown, and David Minussier. His team hasn't been in the greatest of order at the moment. I liked Plenty in here, but I came down in Caradoc in the end.
A Caradoc for a team that are going along quite nicely at the moment as well, and I think he's going to get his ground because it seems that sort of ground is important to Caradoc. You touch upon something which I think Johnny Drama is sort of crucial to the shape of the race, because the other two bits of pace that you mentioned are likely to come from the 2-3-year-olds trained by Mark Johnson in form of Victory Command and Oasis Prince. Now, when you get Johnston horses setting the pace, for me it can be a bit of an illusion. As in you think, sometimes you get in those Goodwood handicaps 3 or 4, and actually they don't take each other on. They come out, they're from the same stable, and they don't go silly, and it actually suits them, and they tend to stick around up there. But I think it's quite good for the race that you've got a horse like Johnny Drama in there.
No, definitely. Johnny Drama, he's a big, lovely, long galloping horse. He all he does is gallop. So I think it's Rob Hornby's going to ride him today. He's going to have to be very positive on him and use him. That's the only way he's going to win, to be honest.
Right, we're going to do. I'm really tempted to go for the horse at the top of this betting for a best bet of 4.0, but I'm loath to take on Rixie because I think you're pretty good. So I'm genuinely worried to take you on. I'm going to think about it. So
you back yourself, Stanley. Always back yourself.
But it's only because of that. I thought he was going to be shorter than that, and I'm not sure that price will hang around. So people might be listening to this, and all of a sudden he's 3.5 or 3.9. Anyway.
Don't all the pro punters say, they're always banging on about value, so it sounds like you're getting value as well.
All about the value. That's why I normally go for a 25.0 shot to finish his sixth, but I got the value. Right, let's do some best bets for Saturday afternoon between the Mill Reef, the 10 following handicap at Newbury, the Ayr Gold Cup as well. We might choose to look elsewhere. Deasy, first of all, for you, who's your best bet?
I'm going to go for a 25-1 shot. That's going to finish sixth, Tom. I'm going to put up Ayr Jonesy in the Ayr Gold Cup. I think a small win bet and a nice chunky place bet if you're getting 5 places.
Hey Jonesy, 26.0. Declan, best bet?
I will go for Caradoc. I love the way he travelled in there. We hit the line the last day at York. Ryan Moore, who's probably didn't have the best start to the season by his standards, by his lofty standards. He's riding a hell of a lot better now at the moment. And the Ed Walker team are in rude health. So yeah, I think everything looks poised for Caradoc to go close in the handicap.
And as much as I'd love to make it a three-way on the races we previewed and go for Malatru, the ground is tempering my enthusiasm ever so slightly. I would look at the Ayr Gold Cup as well, and I think Intersab's a really good bet with Angus Villiers on from a good draw. I think could go very well at 21.0. So that's it. Those are our best bets. That's all the action previewed. What's going to be an excellent weekend. Rixie, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good man. Dees, all the best. Thanks very much for not just your input, but also providing that stunning Matchbook background.
Don't bother, Tom. It's my pleasure.
That's live from his bedroom, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's it, yeah. I live with Sully's. It's Sully's bedroom as well. He just sleeps over there.
That's a frightening image. Do you know one thing I'm genuinely concerned about is what are you going to do without the cricket? The cricket's finished, Dees. What are you going to do?
Oh, sure, I have rugby to watch now.
Deasy's not a fan of the Queen sports, is he?
I don't have time for those private school sports, Rixie.
You're dead right. You're a man of the people.
Those private school sports. Give me a hurling hour of football any day of the week, but not a fancy of the egg chasers at all.
Magic stuff.
I'll be on the bandwagon, all right, though. I'll be on the bandwagon for Ireland to get knocked out in the second round, and I won't give a shite then after that again. It'll be grand.
For all your egg chasing tweets, go to Declan Rix. He's already put one good one up there, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon as well.
You like those sappers, don't you? You like those sappers in the rugby?
I do, yeah. The rumour has it they're going well in training. Mohammed Al-Zarouni is taking over the training regime.
And with that, we will end the Matchbook Horse Racing podcast this week. Rixie, Deasy, thanks very much indeed. We'll chat again soon, and best of luck to those of you at home, whichever race you're playing and whatever horse you're siding with. Bye for now.